verbal riot.
Good morning, folks. What's happening, man? Welcome to a special Saturday edition of VRL. I normally don't do this on Saturday mornings. Shit, I normally don't do this in mornings, period, because I'm not a morning guy. I'm not good at that. But we're doing it today because Thursday, I was not able to do it Thursday night because earlier in the week, I made the mistake of doing something really stupid. I was working out and I tore a muscle on one of my ribs, which I don't even know how the hell I even did that, to be honest with you. But wasn't good. Wasn't good. Got to the point where just breathing in was crazy painful. So I went to the doctor. And what's funny is I didn't really know what it was, right? Because it didn't happen when I worked out. It happened almost after I worked out because I was feeling fine when I was working out. And yeah, I went to the doctor 'cause I'm like, I hope this isn't like something crazy like kidney stones or something wild, right? So I went and they did all the tests and then the doctor started kind of, feeling around that area and he felt a muscle out of place. And yeah, so turns out I tore a muscle on my rib and I've been hopped up on painkillers and muscle relaxers all week. So Thursday night, Thursday during the day kind of reactivated and I did something. I think I turned the wrong way, had to go back to the hospital, have them x-ray it, that whole deal. So anyway, long story short, these are the gifts. These are the gifts of aging, of getting old. Many of you will experience these gifts. One of these gifts is just waking up with random pains from nowhere, just a random ass pain from muscles that you didn't even know you had. So this is the gift you guys can look forward to. Man, but other than that, guys, it's been a very good week. And for the 5 or 6 of you who are actually watching me live, welcome, man. Glad to be here. Glad you guys are here. Just wanted to say I wanted to check on some of the chats. And this is from Bro Edmonds. Hey, hi Dante. How are you? Thank you very much for watching, man. And guys, remember, for me, I'm not a morning guy, so I'm gonna be a little bit out of wits this morning, but sharp enough to do a show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's take another chat before I hop into business because we got a lot to talk about. This is from One Black Talon. I think that's how you pronounce it. First time watching live. Hey man, welcome. Yeah, I normally don't do these live, so for a reason, for a really good reason. Oh, and look at that, we got memberships. How cool is that? Blitzen gifted 5 Verbal Riot memberships. Wow, thank you very much, my friend. I did not expect that. That is a gift. No pun intended. Adrian Curry became a YouTube member. Oh, I need to have you on the show. I really do. We need to talk because there's a lot to talk about. And yeah, guys, there is crazy amounts to talk about this week. I was usually, there's weeks where I'm kind of fishing for things to talk about. This week gave me everything I needed. Everything I needed, man. And we're going to jump just right into it. So hope you guys are doing good. I know you guys over there on the East Coast have probably already started your day. You're well into your afternoon. So, but let's talk about this. Jenna Ortega. So look, Hollywood, especially when it comes to the actresses, man, like they have never been kind, right? Even the most beautiful woman in Hollywood gets scrutinized for their looks. There was a time, and not so much now, but there was a time when actresses literally would age out of roles and out of parts because they just, they want somebody young and hot. So the pressure, right? The pressure to look good, especially for a woman, is pretty high to the point where it's extreme, where women will do crazy things to themselves. Now, I'm not saying Jenna Ortega has done this, but she has kind of been the topic of conversation about this because of her recent looks. And this is what Jenna Ortega normally looks like, or I won't say normally. This is what she looked like, I think, 6 months ago. Okay, this is a pretty, I think, recent picture of her. It's no older than 1 year. And if as you can see, I'm gonna blow it up a little bit. She is a gorgeous girl. She's very cute in that quirky way, kind of like Winona Ryder used to be back in the 80s and 90s, right? She has like just that quirky look to her. She's going under some scrutiny this week because of recent appearances where her looks have changed, right? And now it's a little bit more extreme. So now she looks like this. Here's the thing. I don't know, and I don't want to say that she did anything, cosmetic to her face. Like I don't think she's had any surgeries done. I know there's this rumor going around that she's done this thing called buccal fat removal, where women get the fat literally sucked out of their cheeks so that it looks a little bit more uh uh sharper, I guess. Streamlined, I guess is the word. But and you could look at the face and maybe there's an argument there. I don't know, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and lie and say the girl did all this stuff, right? The only thing I know she did for sure, just by looking at this picture, is she did something weird to her eyebrows, right? I think she bleached them or something, which isn't really a good look for her. But I get it. She's trying to be edgy, and a lot of these actresses and pop stars, like they try to do these weird edgy looks to them. Like I remember, oh my god, when Doja Cat, who I just can't stand on a cellular level, she did that thing where she wanted to go through this ugly phase, and I think it was to sell her, well, it was twofold. It was to sell her new album, and it was to make her look she didn't want to appease the male gaze, right? She's one of those. So she went through this ugly phase, and she was purposely making herself look like horrible, right? And I know some actresses and some stars do this to themselves, just to make a political statement. I don't think Jenna is doing that. I don't think she's trying to make a political statement. I think maybe she just wanted to, her new show Wednesday just came out after 3 years, which is crazy. It just came out. Maybe she's trying to edge it up for the show, during the promo. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't think this would be much of a topic if it weren't for the fact that so many young actresses and young stars are doing these weird things to themselves right now, right? Like I saw someone posted this on X, and this is and there's more than this, by the way, but it's just a bunch of young people who have kind of drastically changed their looks, right? You have Ariana Grande, and we've seen her during that Wicked tour with Cynthia Erivo, who I'm going to get into later, by the way, looking skeletal, right? Looking just horrible, man. Especially if you remember how Ariana looked even like 3 years ago, right? She was hot, she was fit. She was always kind of thin, but she had curves. She had some curves to her. Now she looks sickly, and that's the thing. It's this sickly look. Right? It's not even like they're getting cosmetic surgeries to look. And again, not accusing. I'm just saying it's not like they're doing these things to themselves to look more, curvaceous or hot. They're doing it to look weird. You have I can't remember her name. Something the chick from The Boys, right? The one that plays Starlight. For some reason, her real name is escaping me for some reason. But you have her, right? And we saw this a few years ago, where she had this really nice, wholesome girl next door look, and now she looks like this. And the chick from Grey's Anatomy, right? So she's but in her defense, she is a little older. But what I don't understand is if you're older, I get it. I get it. You're older, the looks are starting to fade a little bit, whatever. And I'm not saying I like it. I really don't. In fact, I really respect what Pamela Anderson is doing right now, where she's just letting herself age, right? And yeah, this is a woman who's gotten a lot of surgery in her time, but at least she's renouncing it. At least she's saying, I want to just age, right? I know Cameron Diaz has gone on record recently saying that, she doesn't want to ever get to the point where she doesn't recognize her own face, so she's not doing any plastic surgeries to herself. So you have some actresses that are kind of standing up and saying, hey, I'm not going to do this to myself. But I can almost excuse it if they're older, right? Almost excuse it. When they're young, man, and they're doing these weird things to their bodies, I don't understand any of this. And the craziest thing is a lot of these things aren't safe. I just before I hopped on, I saw another tweet, and I saw like 3 this week of another adult film star who passed away, young adult film star, like in her early 20s, because she's getting plastic surgery. Another one died earlier this week for getting a BBL. This girl died trying to make her ass fat. And it's not funny, man. Like it's kind of messed up, but it really kind of shows you though, man. I don't. Is it worth your life? And I'm not saying any of these girls are doing anything that's worth it. Well, maybe Ariana Grande, because she is scary thin right now. She needs to eat something. She really does. But is it worth it, man? Because again, I've been around this for a long time. I've been around Hollywood for a long time. I have seen woman after woman after woman go through these crazy extremes, whether it's starving themselves, whether it's, getting something sucked out of them or getting something put into them and all this crazy shit. I just want to know, is the money worth it? Right? Like if they're getting paid big money to destroy themselves, I can somewhat understand that. Maybe. I don't, but look, they're doing it for that reason. But just doing it for the sake of, right? And I see this with women who aren't in the business. I'm talking about just regular everyday women who are doing these same extremes. Is it worth it, man? Like Jenna, it's a hard one for me because I don't know for sure if she has. I think her looks are weird right now. And this whole weird alien look, that's what they're calling it, by the way. This whole alien look, I don't understand it. Maybe if I were a gay man, I would think it was fierce or something. But I don't get it. I really don't, right? I know in high fashion, and it's funny, Adrian Curry could probably attest to this. In high fashion, it's pretty much run by gay men, and they go out of their way to make women look androgynous and basically like a man, because they want to see themselves. Gay men want to see themselves in the women that are, modeling. So, but I don't know, man. I hope for her sake, because Jenna, unlike some of these other actresses and stars, she does seem pretty level-headed. She seems pretty level-headed and kind of has her stuff together. I met her one time, and it was just like a hi, nice to meet you thing. But she seems pretty grounded, man, for the most part. And maybe someone told her to do this, right? Like I know Lady Gaga is supposed to be in this season of Wednesday, and she's going to be doing the promos with her. Maybe she's trying to match her energy, because Lady Gaga is weird as fuck. So maybe she's trying to do that. I don't know, but I hope this is the extent of Jenna Ortega's transformation, right? Like I really hope she doesn't go any further than this, especially being she's only like 24, 25, maybe, right? I mean, that's just too young to be kind of just screwing up your body. And again, Ariana Grande, eat a fucking burger, please. Eat a steak, eat something that's going to put like some meat on you, because I literally fear for her life. I do, man. Like I fear for her life. Anyway, y'all, that's all I'm gonna say about Jenna Ortega. I like the girl a lot. I really just kind of don't want her to fall into that weird trap. So anyway, I'm gonna take a look at a few more comments, and then we are going to soldier on. This is from Steve. You guys kill me with these names, man. Steve IE. Okay. People destroy their bodies every day for pennies, construction workers, roofers, etc. Man, it's not the same. Working construction, dude, and I get it, right? Football, you can say that about anything, right? Football players, boxers, they put their bodies on the line. I understand that. There's a difference though between working construction because you have to, and put food on your table. I get that, right? And there's hazards that come with the job, right? Getting elective surgeries is not even in the same boat. It's not even close. But I do get what you're trying to say about it. Oh, we got a super chat. This is from Nick Brown for $4.99. Do you think it's some type of humiliation ritual? I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on today, but I guess I will. I think part of it is that I think there is a kissing of the ring, and anyone who says there's not is full of shit because we've already seen it, right? We've already seen it. We've seen it with Pedro Pascal, right? We see how far he's gotten by kissing the ring, and probably some other things, right? I mean, there is a benefit to that, and there is a humiliation ritual, and you see it tons, especially with the men, right? They always want to put men in dresses, right? They always want to put men in dresses in Hollywood. So there is a price to be paid to ball or to Bacchus or whatever pagan god that they worship. So anyway, let's let's move on. So I mentioned Cynthia Erivo in that last segment, and we're gonna unfortunately kind of continue on with her because there's certain people I wish I could just never hear from again, right? Like I just wish would disappear. She is literally one of them. I hate talking about this woman because I feel like she is just there to provoke. I'm sure she has talent. I'm not going to deny her that. I saw Wicked. The woman has a voice. I understand that. Here's the thing, though. There's plenty of other actresses and singers with a good voice who are not annoying, right? But Cynthia Erivo is part of that ring kissing group I was talking about a little bit earlier, because for some reason Hollywood is in love with her right now. And the only reason why I'm bringing her up is because I just kind of want to hit on this topic of not so much her, but just how Hollywood has, not even just Hollywood, how society in America has zero problems insulting Christianity. Cynthia Erivo was cast in the Andrew Lloyd Webber production of Jesus Christ Superstar. If you guys have never seen this show, I never saw the live show. I saw the movie back in the day with Ted Neely, who was an amazing actor and singer. He was perfect, actually. Jesus Christ Superstar it's a very campy, very tongue-in-cheek look at, it's a musical, okay, guys? It's a musical about Jesus. So it's going to be a little weird, a little. But I will say this, at least in the 70s version, at least in that movie, it was played pretty straight up. I mean, there was some liberties taken, especially like with Herod and some other things. The Roman soldiers in the musical are wearing like, these pink tank tops, right? And they're men, but they're obviously all gay. All of them. It pushes the line, but not to the point of blasphemy. You get what I'm saying? So, and here's the thing. The funny thing is, I really like that musical, the 70s one. I thought it was great. I thought the music, I thought, the vibe, I really dug that version of it. And mainly because Ted Neely was so captivating as Jesus. And he does play an amazing Jesus, right? And this is him, in fact, just to show you who I'm talking about here. This is Ted Neely. This is the guy who played Jesus in the 70s version. At least they tried to look he at least tried to look the part, which he kind of does, right? Obviously, a little bit more fair-skinned than Jesus would probably be, being from that part of the world, but he looks the part. And he portrayed the part, right? He didn't do it tongue in cheek. He didn't do it with a wink. He literally just played the part. So a year ago, I heard that Cynthia Erivo was cast as Jesus. This woman, right? Forget her skin color. This woman was cast as Jesus Christ in this musical. Also promoted as an all queer production of Jesus Christ Superstar. So they want you to know that this is for the gays, right? But she was cast as Jesus, which is crazy work. I didn't care about it so much until I saw the clip that I'm about to show y'all. Let me because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, and I'm gonna blow it up for you so you guys can see this. This is her as Jesus Christ. She looks like a fucking gargoyle. What is that? What is that? Like, she couldn't look more like Gollum if she tried. Dude, her talons, it looks like she's about to like turn this man into a vampire. And by the way, the guy singing with her is Adam Lambert. You know, he's the front man for Queen right now. He's been the front man for Queen for a long time, actually. Great singer, and he's gay as well. Like I said, it's an all queer production of this, and he's playing Judas Iscariot. So not only did they get this white dude to play Judas, but if I go back to the video real quick, they also gave him platinum blonde hair. Just so you know, this is a white Judas. Because in the original, in the movie, because there was the play in the movie. In the movie in the 70s, Judas was played by a black actor named Carl Anderson, who, by the way, mind-blowing. The guy can sing his ass off. Loved him as Judas. But they wanted to make sure Judas was white this time. And the thing that bugs me about this, more than anything else, right, as I'm watching it, is I don't give a shit about this musical, right? Like, I really don't. I'm not going to pay money. I'm not going to go watch it. I don't really care about that. So why am I talking about it? I'm talking about because I'm pissed off that how come we can't get a Muhammad the musical, right? Why can't we get a musical about Islam and completely joke about it and make fun of it and mock it, right? I mean, we could do it with Christianity, obviously. And weirdly enough, America has no problem being blasphemous when it comes to Christianity, right? No problem. It's okay to make fun of Christians. The media does it. Hollywood does it. And it's okay. And there's nothing you can do about it because it's free speech, right? But how come that doesn't apply to Islam or any other religion, right? That's a question that was, funny enough, I can't get anybody to answer. And when you try to get somebody to answer it, they hide behind free speech. But what they really want to say is they view Christianity as a white religion. I mean, let's stop the bullshit here, people. Let's stop. We know what this means. They see Christianity as a white religion. Therefore, it's okay to make fun of it and mock it. Even though many people are Christians, no matter, black, white, Latino, Asians, many people are Christians, but they see it as a white religion, therefore making it okay to mock it. If we're being honest, right? They will never do this to Islam because brown people worship mostly brown people. Don't get me wrong, there's lighter skinned, Muslims, whatever, but for the most part, they see it as a brown religion. I mean, shit, they won't even mock pagan religions because they're afraid of offending the Native Americans and other people who worship, the sun and shit like that. No offense. No offense to any Native Americans watching, but you get what I'm trying to say here, right? I mean, I'm not saying y'all all worship the fucking sun. You get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I don't know, man. Something about this bugs me on a fundamental level. And I'm somebody who I will say, I'm not saying I am a Christian per se, though I did do a lot of studying when I was younger and did some seminary stuff. That's a whole nother life. That's a whole nother topic that I'll get into on another day. I was in a cult for a while. That's a whole nother topic. But I've had my experience with Christianity, right? And I respect it. I respect it enough to not blaspheme it. But it's just weird to me that it's so okay in this country to do that. And maybe it speaks to a bigger problem worldwide, right? Because I look at the things happening in France. I look at the things happening, in England and in places overseas, and there's some weird stuff going on, man. And I'm not saying like there's this great Christian persecution happening, okay? But we need to kind of really keep an eye out on what's going on here, because something is not right about this to me. Anyway, I hope I never have to speak about Cynthia Erivo again, though I'm sure she's going to do something else stupid that I'll probably have to talk about. All right, man. I'm going to look at a few more comments, and then we are going to soldier on. This is from Fenrir Wolf. I understood that reference. Hi, chat. Hi, Verbal. Hey, hi yourself. Thank you for watching, man. I appreciate it. We got another one from Nick Bone. Seminary, eh? Yeah, that's a whole, again, different life. Different life, different time, man. This is from Adrian. Islam teaches to overtake governments and worlds. That's what you were picking up on, because they are doing it now to the Western world. Yeah, and trust me, I've been keeping watch, right? Like I don't speak on religion very much. Like if you guys follow me on X, I don't really get into religion and all that. But I've been keeping track of some things, man. I've been noticing things, and yeah, there's some weird stuff going on. Again, I've been called a conspiracy theorist before, nothing new, but I've noticed some weird things. Anyway, let's keep this going. Oh boy, this next topic. Okay. It's funny being a 90s adult. I was an 80s kid. I was a 90s adult. I graduated high school back in 92, blah, 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 blah. We were all about being rebellious, right? We were rebels. We were like in the real sense of the word, not this goofy shit you guys see now, right? Like Gen X, we were down for some shit, right? We were hardcore. We were like really trying to, say fuck the system and keep it pushing, right? So we had our heroes, right? We had some heroes. One of those heroes in the fight against the man, at least on a vocal level, was Howard Stern. Howard Stern, you guys might know him now, and he's just this goofy fucking, caricature of a man. Back in the day, though, right? Especially back in the late 80s, early 90s, man. Howard was raw. He was raw, man. Like he did shit that, pissed off the higher ups, like I remember the FCC was on his ass all the time. They hated Howard Stern. Why? Because Howard was about freedom. He was about freedom of speech and doing whatever the fuck you wanted, right? Howard was as close to a pirate radio DJ that was in the mainstream. You get what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't a pirate, but he was acting like a pirate DJ in mainstream radio, or terrestrial radio is what we used to call it back in those times. And he bucked the system, man. He would do crazy shit, man. Like, he would have like porn stars, in the DJ station or the radio station doing outlandish shit that you couldn't get away with, man. Like he had them doing, and I don't know if I can even talk about it on YouTube, had this stuff that they were doing. Like they were like, look, you just had to see it, man. You had to hear it. And he was the voice for a lot of us, man. Like, especially us on the West Coast. I remember I had a job where I had to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and Howard was the best part of that ride, right? Like, he was the best part of getting to my job, right? It was my job was like an hour and a half away. I had to drive, and just listening to Howard Stern always got me through my morning, man. It was a good time. You felt like, you were part of his crew. He kept you entertained. Like, I didn't even listen to regular, like, to music. I used to listen to Howard Stern every morning. And again, this is a guy who built his name on catering to rebellious people like myself. But then things changed. And I think it was a few things, right? I think 9/11 kind of fucked him up a little bit, but he was still speaking out, right? I mean, he went after George Bush and all those guys, and rightly so. Dick Cheney calling them out, rightly so. We had no business being in Iraq, and he was right to call that shit out. But then something happened. Howard got a deal. He got a deal with a company called Sirius. And I'm talking like a big fucking deal. Like, he got a deal, I think it was like something crazy, man, like 500 million, something insane. Like a deal no other radio DJ has ever gotten. And I don't think has ever gotten since. He got this crazy deal. I think it was like 500 million. And obviously he took that deal, which means he was leaving terrestrial radio, right? He was leaving like the platform that spoke to the common man to be exclusive to this company that you had to pay a subscription for. And Sirius was like this new thing. So he left, he took the deal. And ever since then, man, he has become this corporate stooge. And what the crazy thing is that the people he would fight against, all of a sudden, those people were embracing him, which that's how you know you're doing it wrong. All of a sudden, they want to put him on shows like America's Got Talent and shit like that. And, he's becoming more popular. And so the people like us who listen to him, we started becoming like the enemy, right? And he didn't really go completely bonkers, though, until COVID. And that's when his true colors came out. Now, here's the thing. Maybe Howard Stern has always been a fraud. I don't know. But at least he played the part enough that we believed him. Well, all of that's come to an end because his deal with Sirius has, from what I've heard, I'm not sure exactly if it's true or not, but this came on the feed. And it says that today it's been announced that Sirius has canceled the Howard Stern show after ratings plummeted, which is wild. But here's the thing. The big question is, why did his ratings plummet? Well, that's because Howard Stern went after people like us. He went after people who questioned the virus. He went after people who questioned Fauci, calling us all kind of fucking idiots and all kind of things like that. He became the system. He became the man. It's funny. There's a song by Kendrick Lamar. And if you guys don't know who Kendrick Lamar is a rapper. He's a rapper, current day rapper, probably one of the only decent ones these days, if I'm being honest with you. But Kendrick Lamar had a song on the Black Panther soundtrack called All the Stars. And it was a hit, big hit. But there's a verse in it where he says, corrupt a man's heart with a gift, and then you'll find out who you're dealing with. Corrupt a man's heart with a gift, right? And then you'll find out who you're dealing with. This is Howard Stern. He was corrupted by that money. He saw those dollar bills, man, and he said, fuck the people that followed me before. Because we didn't matter anymore, because we weren't the ones paying for Sirius Radio. And if we were, we stopped once he started insulting us. Now, you could look at it like this too. You could say it's also because Sirius Radio is outdated, right? And it is. Who the fuck has Sirius Radio today? I mean, yeah, some people have it in their cars. I get that. But who really listens to Sirius Radio on a regular basis? Even if you have it. When's the last time you listened to it? Why would you listen to it? Better question is, why would you listen to him? He's no longer that voice. We got guys like Joe Rogan. We got guys, like Theo Vaughn. We got guys who, are entertaining, and they don't fucking insult us. So why would we listen to him anymore? To be honest with you, his deal lasted a little bit too long. 500 million? Because what I forgot to mention was his contract was up in 2020. Sirius re-signed him in 2020 for another 500 million. That is wild work. But now he's gone. So they say. I mean, again, I don't know how solid this is yet. I've seen a few articles already that said it's true, but you know how that goes. It might be true, or maybe he'll sign a different kind of contract. So maybe we're not completely done with Howard Stern. I don't really know. But my thing is, look, man, and it's funny because in this post I just showed you, at the end, the guy who posted this on X said, fuck around and find out, Howard. Yeah, he fucked around. He found out. Here's another weird question, though. Who is his audience now? Like, the few people who are still listening to him, who are those people? Because for the longest time, well, again, things were different back then. Back in the 90s, liberals weren't as fucking crazy as they are now. And conservatives were batshit nuts back in the 90s. They were trying to ban, censor every fucking thing. But it's weird how they switched and flopped. So my question is, who is listening to him now? And I listened to one of his shows a few years ago. And I just wanted to see what he was up to, right? And it seems like what he's been doing lately is he's kind of going away from the controversial stuff. And he just does stuff like has musicians on, or has live performances on his show. And he was doing stuff like that. So he's not even doing the same. I'm not saying the same material, but he even moved his platform to a different thing. It's not about making people laugh or, and that's the thing. It wasn't just about making us laugh. It was just about keeping us entertained. It was keeping us entertained. And he stopped doing that on top of insulting us. And I'm not saying, that just because someone entertains me, I'm going to keep supporting them because if they insult me. No, that's not what I'm saying. But You got to have one or the other, man. Like you can't, be, you cannot be entertaining and be an asshole, right? Like if you're going to be an asshole, you better be entertaining as fuck. Okay. So anyway, I would say I wish him well in his future endeavors, but I don't. If I never heard from Howard Stern again, I would give zero shits. It's like the Joker said, you get what you get what you deserve. All right. A couple of comments and we're moving on. Uncle Jimmy says apparently 125K are listening per NYP. 125. 125. For him, that's bad. That's bad. This guy had millions of people listening to him. Millions. So he dropped to 125. And they're still paying him $500 million. Nah, man. Nobody. Okay. John Monkey. You could throw Tipper Gore in there. God, remember that piece of work? Trying to ban rap music. Yeah. Dude, I remember all of that shit, man. I remember when, Tipper Gore and Hillary Clinton. I remember when they went after the 2 Live Crew. You know what I mean? And tried to get them banned and shit. I remember when they went after NWA. Like, I remember when, and these were the Democrats, right? But back in those days, there was a very, very thin line between a Democrat and a Republican. They were all eating from the same table. I mean, they still do, but now they try to pretend they don't, right? Back then, Democrats were just as bad as, Republicans, but they didn't hide it as much back then. And yes, these women decided, what was vulgar. And it wasn't just music. They went after video. Oh, man. When Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out, it was like it was like a countrywide panic. A panic. And that was before we found out about the sex code in San Andreas. Oh, those were good times, man. Good times. I remember all that shit. But they went after rap music. They went after video games. They went after Beavis and Butthead. Oh, they went after The Simpsons. They went after The Simpsons, y'all. They went after Married with Children hard. Those were crazy times, man. All right, I'm gonna look at a few more, or one more, and then we'll keep it going. Uncle Jimmy, from 20 million per day to that, yeah. I think I don't know if it was 20 million. I just know that it was a lot. It was in the millions. I know that. And one more. Here we go. Vernon Hampton. They also went after the UFC. Yeah. Yeah, they were trying to ban everything back then, man. Like, and again, these were the Democrats. The conservatives were doing it too, but anyway. Let's keep moving. Oh, this topic. Okay. Ooh, here we go. So, a couple of weeks ago, the WNBA, had an all-star game that nobody watched. And in this all-star game, they all wore these t-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Right? They all in unison, "Pay us what you owe us," as if we owe them anything, as if the league owes them anything. These people have been operating at a deficit since they started and have not made a profit since. They are being subsidized by the NBA. The NBA is paying for all their shit because they can't make profit on their own. But they all wore these shirts, "Pay us what you owe us," right? Well, sure enough, like a couple of weeks later, they started seeing a little bit more green. Probably not the kind of green they wanted, but they saw more green. And it was in the form of how do I say it? A dildo. A green dildo. Now, I don't know if I can say these words on YouTube, but fuck it. I mean, we're all in at this point. There's been this weird phenomenon happening over the past couple of weeks where fans are showing up and throwing very large green dildos onto the court. I have so many questions. I have so many questions about this, but this has been a thing, y'all. And it's gotten to the point now where it's becoming like a pandemic, if you will. This person posted, a fourth dildo has landed on the WNBA court. We repeat, a fourth dildo has landed. This is like some 9/11 shit, right? Like a second building has been hit. A fourth dildo has landed on the court. There are people monitoring this. And it's gotten to the point where the WNBA has had to speak out about it because it's becoming a thing, right? And I heard one person say, and it wasn't Sophie Cunningham, which I'm going to get to, but someone has said that they're concerned for the players' well-being. I don't know how heavy these dildos are. Like, I don't know if someone can get a concussion getting hit with a dildo. But I want to know. Actually, I'm very curious as to, are there physical repercussions to getting hit by one? Guys, like I said, I have so many questions about this. Number one, why are they green? And not only why are they green, why are companies making green dildos? What woman is going into a sex shop to buy a green dildo? Like I get like a flesh colored, because flesh color I understand, right? But green? Second question. Aren't these things expensive? Like, aren't dildos, like, they're not cheap, right? Like, I think they range between 30 and up. So who is going into a sex store dropping like 30, 40, 50 bucks for these things just to throw them on the court? Another question I have, I told you I have a lot of questions about this. What are the WNBA, what are they doing with the ones that they're collecting? Right? Because, hey, a fourth one hit, and I think there's been more than 4. So, like, is there like a box? Is it like a lost and found box that they're putting all the shit in? Like, are they donating it to charity? Like, what are they doing with all of these dildos, man? Is it a prize for the MVP of the game? Like, I don't know. And these are questions I really wish would be answered for me. But this is crazy work, man. Like, there's even there's X accounts that are dedicated to this. I came across this literally right before the show where this person posted this. This is a new account called WNBA Dildo Watch. So they're literally like just keeping track of how many dildos are being thrown on the basketball court. Look, fellas, if we're being honest, if we're being really honest here, okay? If we're being honest. This is wrong. This is messed up, right? Like, I get it. No one respects the WNBA. I get that, right? And there's a lot of jokes to be said about the WNBA because if we're being honest, I'd say 90% of those gals are a little butch. Right? They're a little butch. They're a little manly, right? And not just Brittany Griner. Like there's some other ones that are just as like, just as tough, if you will. There's jokes that they belong to the women who are playing, that they're falling out of their shorts. I'm sure that's a joke. I'm sure that's not really happening. I think. It's not. Look, they're green. There's no way they're hiding green dildos in their shorts. So let's stop that. But I get the joke. But if we're being serious here, it's kind of messed up, y'all. It's kind of messed up. Like, It's a it's such a disrespect that if honestly, if I were a player and I felt like no one respected what we did, I'd even question like, why am I playing for this league, right? I mean, they've already complained that they're not making enough money to even support themselves. That's why Brittany Griner went to Russia, right? Because they pay better, besides locking his ass up. Um, that's a man. That's a man. Don't try to fool me, bruh. Brittany Griner is a dude. That's a dude. Anyway, the disrespect though. I personally myself, I would just quit because it's a clown show at this point. Sorry about that, y'all. Had a little bit of a snafu. Anyway, it's a clown show. And how are you gonna again, I have so many questions about this. How do you regulate this? Right? Like, how do you regulate people? Like, they said that they've hired extra security to walk around to make sure no one is throwing dildos, right? So by drawing so much attention to it now, everybody's going to show up with a dildo unless they do a back check, And can you imagine? Can you imagine not being a player, but can you imagine being the guy who has to check? Like that's your job. Your job in life is to go through people's bags to make sure they don't have green dildos in their bag. That's your job. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're getting paid, you're getting paid. But you know, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to tell my friends like that's my job, right? But it's gotten to the point where they have to check people's bags now to make sure that they don't have green or any dildos in their bag. So far, they've only been green. Maybe they'll switch up the colors. I don't know. Maybe they're training their eyes to only see green. So if there's like a black one in there or like a red one, maybe they'll miss it. I don't know. I don't know the psychology in this. But some of the players are speaking out about this. Sophie Cunningham is one of them. Now, she's already made a few posts where she was like, "Can you guys please stop throwing dildos on the screen? I mean, on the court because we can get hit by them, we can get hurt by them." And literally 4 days after she made that post, she got hit in the head with a green dildo. She laughed it off. And if you guys don't know who Sophie Cunningham is, she is one of the few, and I'm talking like handful of attractive female presenting women in the WNBA. So, and she has a pretty good personality. She has a really good sense of humor. So here's her talking about what's been going on in this interview.
There's actually been 3 dildos that have been thrown, which is insane, all green. And I was like, hey, like this is gonna be a thing. Like,
I saw that they offered. You're not allowed to talk about this, so you probably can't even respond to what I'm going to say. But there were betting lines for the next colored dildo thrown on the court at a WNBA game, and people could like bet on the number. Yeah, and it was like sunset rainbow, like plus like 50 grid or whatever. Yeah, and I guess green is just like the go-to now.
Dude, the funny thing is like my parents and my sister, they literally text me
Whew, sorry about that, guys. I'm having some crazy Wi-Fi issues today, so let me pull that video back up. This is what happens when you go live, by the way. Things like this happen. So let me get that back for you. One second. Sorry about this. All right, there we go. Let's continue.
Of like my good luck text, she goes, "Watch out for flying dildos tonight." And then the other one said, "Did you really just post the dildo tweet? It got some legs." And she goes, "It's funny, a lot of others think so too. Did you see the dildo hit the court?" I was like, I never thought that I'd be talking about this with Mama P.
I'm with my sweet mom. Did you see the response to your tweet that like ratioed you?
No.
So you said stop throwing dildos on the court, you could get hurt, and someone said, "Well, stop playing basketball on the dildo range." Which
That's kind of funny.
My stuff.
So she's trying to take it all in stride, right? And I guess that's all you can really do, right? All you can really do is joke about it, right? Because otherwise, it's you're taking it a little bit too hard. No, no pun intended on that. So yeah, she's been the only one so far who's kind of spoken out about it, and she's making light of it. And I think this is what you kind of have to do, because I think if you're like, angry about it, or if you kind of come at the fans, you come. Yeah, I guess they do have some fans. If you come at the fans like really hard about it, they'll probably, it'll just encourage them to do it more, right? So she's trying to make light of it. And I get that, right? And good for her. Good for her, because that is that's a little rough. Again, I have never seen this level of disrespect. Like, I've seen people throw things on the court, even though, like, at a game where, an NBA team is playing their My Wi-Fi is really not doing well right now. I have no idea what's happening. Sorry, I apologize, guys. This is crazy because it's never happened like this. So I don't know if there's some weird things happening with the building. I don't know what's going on, but again, these are the hazards of going live. Anyway, let's look at some comments, man. All right, here we go. Jose Sarango. Oh yeah. Again, when you go live, things happen. This is from Rhaegar Targaryen. I'm not saying anything specific. All I'm saying is the only started happening after Brittany Griner comment. I don't remember the comment Brittany said. I even feel weird calling him that. Again, that's not a chick. Atlas, a third dildo has hit Dante's camera. Yes, it has. Well, not my camera, my Wi-Fi, man. Jose Sarango, never happened before. Interesting, right? Yeah. You know what? Maybe they're plotting against me, man. Maybe the powers that be at the WNBA are sabotaging my feed. Sergeant Garantina, hello, Verbal Riot. Nice to see you at this hour. Yeah, man. Again, I never really do it at this hour. So thank you for joining in. But we also got a few super chats, and let's take a look at those. This is from Vernon Hampton for 5. I was listening to Stern when 9/11 happened. You know, that was a really good episode of that show. Like, it's funny because even to this day, every 9/11, I will go back and rewatch that show, right? You know, though I say never forget. That was such an interesting time, and his show was live when the planes went into the towers. So it was a really cool show. If you guys haven't seen Howard Stern, 9/11, it's one of the few times I say, look it up. Another super chat from Pilgrim Media for 2. I'm with you, pal. They're weird, they're whacked, and yeah, they are. All right. Let's move on, and hopefully my Wi-Fi holds up for this next topic, because we finally got some good news. And especially for this person, because I don't know her personally. I've never met Gina Carano, but a lot of you guys have known like what she's kind of gone through with Disney, and I'm going to get a little bit more into that. So good news is Gina Carano finally gets her justice. She wins. She basically has been in a very long, very trying lawsuit with Disney, who fired her for no good reason. They fired her from The Mandalorian because she refused to put pronouns in her Twitter bio. I mean, that's basically the long and short of it. Like, there's no, you might hear all these different things about why, she got fired. No, that's really what it is. This was during a time when, all the woke shit was at its height, right? And they literally thought that they were winning so much that they could do some shady shit like this and people would have no say in it, right? She played a pretty prominent role as Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, and to the point where they were talking about giving her own show, right? Like, that's how popular the character got. And then because of this pronoun situation and a hate campaign led by people like Pedro Pascal, if you guys don't have enough reasons to hate him, you're not looking hard enough, man, because there are tons of good reasons to not like Pedro Pascal. But people like him, people like Rachel Zegler, I mean, you want to talk about karma being a bitch? She tried to ruin Gina's career. And it's funny enough, her career is fucking done. So that's karma. That's good karma. But Gina was able to, take on the giant and beat him, with the help of Elon Musk, who provided some legal services for her. And it's been interesting watching the reactions to this. There's been a lot of crazy reactions because, I expect the left to go nuts right now, and they are. They're pissed. They're pissed, and they're nursing their wounds, right? Because you have to understand, if you're on the left right now, you are taking L after L after L. You're just taking so many L's right now. We had the whole thing with Sydney Sweeney last week, this week too. With the whole jeans thing. Things are trying to get back to normal. They're not having a good go of it right now, and nor should they. Right? Nor should they. They were so pompous. They were so smug about their fucking place even 2 years ago. I wonder what changed. But Gina, Gina has been quiet. She's been, kind of going through this on her own with her family, obviously. But, she hasn't been very outspoken about it. And mainly because, with an ongoing case, you can't really talk about it. But from what I've gathered, when this news came out, Gina is happy, right? She's very happy that, she won. Now, if you look at this post, and this is from Variety Magazine, who, by the way, you can't hate them enough. Variety says Disney and Lucasfilm have settled with Gina Carano's legal dispute over her firing for The Mandalorian due to offensive posts. Due to offensive posts. Right? They had to kind of wedge that in, right? Sneak that in. Now it's funny, if you ask them what the offensive post was, they can't answer you. In fact, a lot of people in the comments ask, what offensive post? They can't post anything because there isn't one. So this is their little, jab at Gina. I mean, it's useless. Doesn't matter, but it just kind of shows you what Variety magazine is like. You don't hate them enough. So, yeah, this is what Disney had to say, or the spokesperson for this particular issue. Miss Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. Yeah, they weren't saying that like a few months ago, right? Like even a few months ago, they weren't saying that. I'll go on. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities, lawyer talk, identifying opportunities to work together with Ms. Carano in the near future. That is the most flaccid apology. It's not even an apology. Like they literally could have wrote this with AI, and they probably did, right? The point is, Gina won. They settled out of court. Will she work with them again? I doubt it. I doubt it, man. Like even if they offered her something, why would she take it? Why would you want to work with this company again? I follow Bo DeMaio, the creator of X-Men 97 on X, and the things that he talks about, like the meetings that go on at Disney, it sounds like the worst fucking grind in the world. Like Disney is where creativity goes to die. Like I don't know why anyone would follow or work with Disney ever again. Like I don't know why she would. But the responses have been interesting, man, because I expect the left to be going crazy right now. The thing that's weird for me is seeing people on the right going just as batshit nuts about this, but not in a way of congratulating her, right? They're calling her a sellout. They're saying that, she compromised, right? Just because she didn't drag this into court. And I get it. We all want to see Disney taken down, right? We want to see it burned to the ground. I get it, right? We despise Disney. We want them to, we want them to burn. I get it. But at the same time, unless you guys have been in a lawsuit, it's taxing, man. It's taxing on the body. It's taxing on the mind. And Disney's a company, from what I heard, they will drag this out if they have to. They would have dragged this out like probably another 10 years. No one has time for that, man. Like people have lives to live. Her settling out of court, them paying her what they owe her, them having egg on their face and having to make comments like this. For her, it's enough. It's for her, right? It's enough, which means it should be enough for us. Like we can't sit here and be angry that she's not fighting the battle that we want her to fight. And she's busy. I'm sure she has things that she just wants to, move on from this and work on. She's an actress, man. I'm sure she has things that she wants to work on and do. And instead of congratulating her, people are calling her a sellout. That's wild. I'm glad that she was able to wrap this up. I'm glad she can move on with her life finally. She could put it behind her. I wish her well. And I really do. I hope to see her in more things, to be honest with you. I hope James Gunn sees this and maybe says, hey, You know, Gina Carano would make a very, very good, big Barda, right? For the New Gods movie or something like that. That would be great casting, by the way. I hope, right? I want to see Gina do a lot more things. And now that she doesn't have this shadow like looming over her with Disney, she's free to do whatever she wants. Anyway, congratulations, Gina. Good job. And for you, for those of y'all who are pissed that she didn't draw blood, she got enough. She did enough. Right. Anyway, let's move on. This is my last topic of conversation. But before I do that, I want to just look at a few more chats. And we got another super chat from Pilgrim Media. How much do you think they paid her? Dude, I have no idea. Like, I don't know any specifics about this case as far as the result of it, right? Like, I don't know what the payout was. I don't know what the deal was. It honestly, it could be a deal where she gets to show that they took away from her, right? Again, I don't know why she would ever do that or ever work for them again, but who knows, right? And one more. This is from Energy 85. They shouldn't be calling her a sellout because of Discovery, because it wasn't her money helping her. Yeah, it's again, guys. There's so much that goes into these things, right? These cases, things that we know nothing about. So it's usually best just to stay out of it, right? She won. That's what matters. Move on. All right. Make sure I got everything. I don't want to miss anybody's super chat. Okay, I just did that one. Let's see. And I think I did that one. Yeah, we're good. All right. Well, guys, this is the last. And I saved this for last on purpose because I rarely do a film review live, right? I usually save my film reviews for a recorded, situation. But I felt like I had to do this one live. And there's a reason why. Because I feel like while it's fresh, because I just saw the movie yesterday, it's still fresh in my mind. So I just kind of want to talk about it, right? World of Worlds with Ice Cube was released this week. And let me tell you, man, it is gloriously bad. Like, every now and then, in every generation, there comes a movie so bad that, like, you just have to talk about it. Like, you have to not just talk about it, you have to experience it for yourself. World of Worlds remake of a 1950s sci-fi film. It was later done with Tom Cruise back in the early 2000s about an alien invasion on Earth, right? Pretty simple stuff. And how they beat the aliens in both films was a biological virus. That's how they were able to beat the aliens. So I don't know who put this together. I don't know who decided that this movie was a good idea to do. But whoever did, thank you. Thank you for this. Because I haven't laughed this hard, man. It's been a long time since I've had a good laugh. And in this week with my rib being torn out and everything, like I needed a good laugh. This movie gave me the laugh that Happy Gilmore didn't. Happy Gilmore 2. I laughed more at this than I did at Happy Gilmore 2. And probably not for the right reasons. So in this movie, Ice Cube plays this government data analyst, right? Basically like a government hacker. And the whole movie takes place literally behind screens. Like it's all done from point of view of cameras. It's not like an actual film is done from the point of view of the cameras, right? And him monitoring everything. So the alien invasion is happening all on his giant monitor and in different screens. The acting in this movie is so diabolically bad. Like Ice Cube, look, I love Cube. He's a rap legend. You know, a lot of y'all youngsters know him from the movies he's done. But I remember when Ice Cube was in WA, right? I remember when Ice Cube was solo. You know, I remember when Ice Cube was with the Lynch Mob. Like I remember Ice Cube, right? And I've had nothing but respect for Ice Cube throughout his career. I love some of his earlier movies. You know, I respect him as a businessman because he has, you know, that 3-on-3 basketball league that he put together. Ice Cube is a sharp guy. I don't know what convinced him to sign on for this film. I really don't. Like, I'm like, is he having financial problems? Like, I don't get it. But he is so bad, and I mean to the point where, like, I don't know if he was trying to be that bad, like if he was trying to put on like a really bad performance, but it was unbelievable. It was like there are videos on X right now of just his reaction shots of his reactions. Priceless. His delivery, it reminds me of like 80s like B movies, right? And I'm not fuck that 80s C movies where the acting is so insanely bad, but they make up for it with nudity and graphic violence, right? that was the performance that Ice Cube put on in this movie. And like I said, he plays his data analyst who, his wife has passed away, and he has this strained relationship with his two kids, who play a big part in this film, by the way. And he's joined by what's that actress's name? The one from Desperate Housewives and all that. It's slipping my mind. Guys in the chat, if you know it, you can remind me of that. But he's joined by this Latina actress. I can't remember her name for the life of me for some reason. Anyway, she plays this NASA weather expert, right? Eva Longoria. I'm sorry, guys. I just had a complete brain fart. Yeah, Eva Longoria. So she's actually trying. She's trying. Like you can see her trying to act. Like I mean, she's doing the best she can, right? But when you're acting against Ice Cube putting on this weird performance, I get that it's hard. So and she didn't have like, a lot of major parts. So luckily for her, like people might forget she was even in it. So this alien invasion is happening on all these screens, and it's basic stuff. Like if you've seen World of Worlds, they come crashing down, but instead of coming out the ground, they're coming from space, and it's these meteors that hit the Earth, and the aliens are hidden inside the meteors, and then they pop out and they start destroying everything, right? And in this movie, the whole point of the aliens they were there to get our data, right? Not our resources, but just our data for some weird, stupid reason. Like they never even explain why they want our data, really. Like, and why would aliens from a foreign world want the data of us, of human beings? Right? Like, I can see like maybe our resources, but our data. So anyway, Ice Cube's children, I'm jumping ahead because I'm not going to get into this whole story. Basically, help him save the world, right? They all have their special abilities that help him save the world. But that's not the funny part about this movie. The funny part about this movie, and this is where it gets crazy, is that in the third act, it shamefully becomes just this giant ad for Amazon. Like it's literally if Amazon were to make a commercial, that's what that whole third act was about, their services. There are scenes where he has to literally go on Amazon's website and order a flash drive, and his daughter, who is a genius biological scientist, working for this big, federal lab, right? Happens to be engaged to an Amazon delivery man. Because sure, right? And this delivery man saves the day by showing us, or by using Amazon's new drone service. And he even says it in the film, something like, this is our new drone service. This is a shameless, I should say, shameless ad for Amazon. The whole third act just becomes that. Guys, if you want a movie that you could watch with your friends, and I don't recommend doing it sober, by the way, like get some beers, maybe something stronger, maybe certain plants might help you, but get together as a group, watch this film, because I'm telling you, you will not laugh harder at anything this year than World of Worlds. Like, you just won't. This movie is gloriously bad. and I only say that for certain films. Like, I would almost compare this movie to Tommy Wiseau's The Room. If you guys haven't seen The Room, please do. I would equate it to that. I enjoyed this movie more than I should have. I'm almost even ashamed of myself for how much I enjoyed it, because it is that bad. You got to watch it. I do my film reviews, and I always ask, would I recommend this? Yes, I would highly recommend watching World of Worlds. Best time you'll have watching a movie. Anyway, guys, yeah, it was wild, man. It was really wild. I hope Ice Cube's not in trouble. Like, I think he took this role because he might need some money. Like, I'm not sure what has happened. I don't know if his basketball league isn't doing well. I don't know, but I hope he's doing all right, because I can't see any other reason why he would take this part. All right, guys, I'm gonna look at a few more comments and we are going to call it. Thank you guys again so much, man, for bearing with my technical issues. Again, I always say it's going to happen at some point. A stream is something's going to happen to a stream, and you got to roll with it. You just got to deal with it. You guys, you stayed with me. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. Again, I don't normally do mornings. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just start doing Saturday mornings. Who knows? I'll make sure my Wi-Fi signal is a lot stronger next time. But yeah, this has been fun for me. So I'm looking at a few more comments, and then we are going to call it. This is from Cosmin Cristani. It's an unbridled cult classic now. Yes, it is. It is. It's a cult classic. I'm not going to lie to you. Again, from Coastal Cristani, The Room. Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen The Room, please do. I don't even know where The Room is streaming, to be honest with you, right now. From Soup Can, great stream. See you on Flashcast tonight. Yep, yeah, we got more to talk about on Flashcast, and I guarantee you, we're going to be talking about this movie for sure. A Heart for God. Enjoyed listening to you. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Again, apologize for all the technical stuff. This is from Rhaegar Targaryen. I got some Bullet Rye bourbon I was waiting to crack open. You're going to need that whole bottle. You're you know what? Invite friends over. Trust me on this. All right. And this is from Nick Brune. Hookers and cocaine. I would never endorse such things. I'm just saying, you'll probably need something. You'll probably need something pretty strong. I will never endorse hookers and cocaine. With that said, guys, thanks so much for watching, man. I'll talk to you soon.